Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, I am starting the next chapter, electromagnetic waves. Alright. Now, in this chapter, first of all, we will try to have a concept of Maxwell's displacement current. Alright. Now, we know that whenever current passes through a conductor, then surrounding a conductor, magnetic field is produced. Alright. What does it mean? A current can produce a magnetic field. Alright. And in the electromagnetic induction, we have seen that when the magnetic field changes with time, then what happens? The magnetic flux linked with this one, linked with the closed circuit changes, then it gives rise to an EMF or a current. What does it mean? That the electric current can produce magnetic field, as well as when you are considering a time varying magnetic field. Time varying magnetic field means what? The magnetic field which changes with time, that can produce an electric current. Alright. Now, Maxwell first found an inconsistency in the Ampere's circuital law. Alright. Ampere's circuital law, what does it state? You know that line integral of magnetic field around a closed loop, integration B dot dl around a closed loop. So this sign is there. Line integral of magnetic field is equal to mu 0 times the current threaded by the loop. Alright. I hope you can remember the Ampere's circuital law. Now, if you Maxwell first applied this Ampere's circuital law in the case of charging of a capacitor. Alright. So, let us apply the same just like the Maxwell, or what Maxwell did. Let us try to find out. Now, you see these are the two plates. I hope you can follow. These are the two plates of a capacitor which is connected to a battery. Then what will happen? That slowly the capacitor will get charged. Means on this plate which is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, positive charges will accumulate, and due to induction in the opposite plate, negative charge will accumulate, and due to induction the free charge produce positive charge, it will pass through the negative terminal of the battery. So you see, when the capacitor plates are getting charged, I repeat, when the capacitor plates are getting charged, then what is happening? A current is passing through the circuit. But the current is a function of time, isn't it? Why? Because we know at the beginning the current was 0. Slowly the current rises, current increases. And when the capacitor becomes fully charged, alright, then no longer current will flow in the circuit. Alright, that's why in the Ampere circuital law, I have not only written mu 0 I have written mu 0 I as a function of time t. Remember here when I am writing I within bracket t, it means the current is a function of time. The current is time varying. It does not mean I into t. I hope those who are very much interested in studies carefully listening what I am saying. Okay, I is a function of time, that I meant to say. Now here, suppose you have considered two closed loop over this surface segment we have chosen. Just you see how I have chosen the surface here, that this loop, it is passing this loop, it is threading the current, and if you consider this loop, it is lying the S2, the loop S2, it is lying within the plates of the capacitor. Alright, now you see for the loop S1, if you apply Ampere's circuital law, then what you can write? Integration B dot dl is equal to mu 0 I. Okay, I is a function of time t. So you see B dot dl, integration dl, B, you know that Ampere's circuit law, when we apply, we choose the loop in such a manner that the magnitude of the magnetic field remain constant through the entire loop. So in this case, you see what you can write, B into integration dl is equal to mu 0 I. So you can write integration dl, if you consider r be the radius of the loop, b 2 pi r mu 0 I. Alright, that you are getting. Now for loop S1. Now for loop S2, if you consider for loop S2, if you apply Ampere's circuit law, then what you are getting, just see, look at it. Integration B dot dl is equal to 0. Why? Integration B dot dl is equal to mu 0 I equal to 0. Why? Is there any current here? This I is known as the conduction current. IT, this is known as the time varying conduction current. Alright, it is known as conduction current. Due to conduction of charges, the current is produced, so it is known as the conduction current. And generally we use this symbol also, IC. C stands for conduction current. So you see in this case what is happening for loop S2. S2 is lying within the plates, and within the plates there is no current. So what will happen, as there is no current threaded by the loop, unlike S1, so it will be 0. Is that clear? But experimentally, if you keep here a magnetic compass needle, then the needle deflects and it gives the proof of the existence of a magnetic field within the plates of the capacitor. Alright, so Maxwell said that what is happening actually, due to the time varying electric field within the plate which produces a magnetic field, it is nothing but due to a current known as the displacement current, which arises only when there is a time varying electric field producing a magnetic field. Alright, so Maxwell, what he said? He said that between the plates there is no conduction current. Conduction current is 0. But between the plate there is displacement current. Alright, what Maxwell said? That between the plate there is no conduction current, but there is displacement current between the plates. And how the displacement current is coming between the plate? Due to the time varying electric field which is producing magnetic field in turn. Alright, so that is the concept of the displacement current as given by Maxwell. So you see in this particular case how you can get what is the displacement current. But before that, one thing I just want to say, that this definition of displacement current you must learn. Okay, that the current equivalent to the rate of change of electric flux producing the magnetic field within the plates of the capacitor. That is understood, that I have not written, because time varying electric field you can get between the plates of a capacitor. There are other examples also. So is the current is developed is known as the displacement current. Now if you consider the plates of the capacitor, then between the plates of the capacitor we know that a uniform electric field is produced. And what is the electric field given by Q by epsilon naught A? What is Q? Q is the amount of charge present on the plate at any instant of time, and A is the area of the plate. Now you know phi E, the electric flux within the plates. How you can get E dot A? You know flux is given by E dot A. Now E and A, they are in the same direction. Just you consider this one. If you consider this is the plate, then A is in this direction and this is positive, this is negative charge. So what is the direction of E? In the same direction. So E and A, as they are parallel to each other, E dot A will be EA cos 0 degree, means EA. Then if you substitute E, it is Q by epsilon naught A, and A is there. So cancelling A and A, you are getting Q by epsilon naught. Now, if you take the rate of change of electric flux, d phi E dt. D phi E dt will be how much? d dt of Q by epsilon naught. Now 1 by epsilon naught you can take outside the derivative, so it will become dq dt, and dq dt represent what? Nothing but the current. Now this dq dt is known as the displacement current. Remember, I is the current, d is this subscript, d stands for displacement. So displacement current is given by epsilon naught d phi E dt. Very, very important concept in physics. Alright, that displacement current, when it will arise? When there is a time varying electric field, there is a change in the electric flux. As we know from Faraday's law, that rate of change of magnetic flux gives you the amount of EMF induced. I hope you can remember, E is equal to minus d phi b dt. So exactly in the same manner, Maxwell said that when there is a change in electric flux, then it will also give rise to a current which is known as the displacement current. And wherever there is a displacement current, there is a magnetic field at that place. Alright, so this is the basic concept and the important relation for displacement current. Once again I repeat that displacement current ID is given by epsilon naught d phi E dt. Now let us find out what is the relation between the conduction current and displacement current. Alright. Now, according to our concept of conduction current is given by dq dt. I hope you can remember. Now, as you are grown up, you are saying dq dt, but in lower classes you have written I is equal to q by t. Alright, all the same. So, conduction current, we can express it as dq dt. Alright, now the displacement current you can write as displacement current, you can write ID is equal to, just now we have done, ID is equal to epsilon naught d phi E dt. Alright, now phi E you can write it as E dot A. Alright, now E dot A, as we have considered the field within the plates of the capacitor, we have seen E and A, they are in the same direction. So you can write it as E dot A as E into A. Again, you know, here I am writing, otherwise I won't be able to finish, complete it within this one. Board is too small. So E is given by Q epsilon naught A, so A cancel. So you see, you can take epsilon naught outside the derivative. So it is becoming 1 by epsilon naught, then dq dt. So epsilon naught cancel, you are getting dq dt. So ID, original expression, although it is epsilon naught d phi E dt, but from our concept, what we have got, ID also dq dt, means displacement current and conduction current, they are magnitude actually same. Their origin, source is different. Okay, conduction current is produced due to the flow of electron, whereas displacement current is produced due to a time varying electric field due to the rate of change of electric flux at any place. But actually both of them are representing the same current. Now, according to Maxwell, then, if you want to apply the Ampere-Sarkital law while charging a capacitor, then if you write that integration B dot dl, line integral line integral of magnetic field is equal to mu 0 times the current threaded by the loop, that is not sufficient. You need to modify the Ampere-Sarkital law. So how Maxwell modified the Ampere-Sarkital law? He said that line integral of magnetic field is mu 0 times sum of the conduction current and displacement current. Then you see there will be no problem. Why there will be no problem? Just understand it. If you consider S1, in S1 ID is equal to 0. Alright. So what will be integration B dot dl? It will become mu 0 IC. Now if you consider S2, in S2 IC 0, but ID and IC they are equal to ID and IC if you consider, means from the concept if you consider ID is existing within this. Alright, so what does it mean? That according to Maxwell, if you modify the Ampere-Circuital law, then without any inconsistency, you can apply the Ampere's modified Circuital law during the at the case of the charging of a capacitor. Alright, so in this case, if you want, you can substitute the expression for ID, that is epsilon naught d phi e dt. So integration B dot dl is equal to mu 0 times IC plus epsilon naught d phi e dt. This is modified Ampere's Circuital law. Now I am going to the most beautiful thing in physics, that is the 4 equations given by Maxwell for electricity and magnetism. In case of electromagnetic wave, these 4 equations given by Maxwell are nothing but the 4 different equations given by different scientists. Okay, so let us find out what are the 4 equations. This is very important concept wise. Alright, so you must learn it and you will enjoy it. Just you see, surface integral of electric field, integration E dot ds. Okay, integration E dot ds is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. Now you see, when I am saying from the point of view of mathematics, I am saying it like this. This is the surface integral of electric field. Now surface integral of electric field, it represents what? Nothing but the electric flux. Alright, so you see here it is integration E dot ds is equal to Q upon epsilon naught, and it is nothing but it states that electric flux through an enclosed surface is 1 upon epsilon naught, the charge enclosed by the surface. What is that? That is nothing but Gauss's law in electricity. So you see, Maxwell's first equation representing nothing but the Gauss's law in electricity. Alright. Now, what is the Maxwell's second equation? Surface integral of magnetic field. B stands for magnetic field. So, integration B dot ds over a closed surface is equal to 0. Why integration B dot ds equal to 0? Because in magnetism, monopole never exists. Always dipole is there. So whenever you are considering the dipole, so what will be the total magnetic strength? Plus m minus m, 0. Alright. So what will happen? The magnetic flux will become 0. So this is nothing but, the second equation is nothing but the Gauss's law in magnetism. Alright. So you see, integration E dot ds, surface integral of electric field is Q upon epsilon naught. Integration E dot ds represent electric flux. Then integration B dot ds represent the magnetic flux. It is equal to 0 because this is Gauss's law for magnetism, because monopole never exists. Now come to the third one. Third one is actually integration E dot dl. Here I have written E for your understanding, but okay, I am writing it within bracket. Integration E dot dl, line integral of electric field. Now we know this, we learnt in the electric potential chapter that integration E dot dl represent nothing but the potential, electric potential or the EMF. So integration E dot dl is equal to minus d phi b dt. Rate of change of magnetic flux is equal to the induced EMF produced. What is that? That is nothing but Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So you see, the third equation of Maxwell represent nothing but Faraday's laws. Then the fourth equation, integration B dot dl is equal to mu 0 into IC plus epsilon naught d phi dt. Already I have said it. What does it represent? This is Maxwell's fourth equation. Maxwell's fourth equation represent nothing but the modified Ampere's circuital law. So I repeat, the four equations given by Maxwell. The first equation represent Gauss's law in electricity. Second, integration B dot d is 0 represent Gauss's law in magnetism. The third one, integration E dot dl equal to minus d phi b dt represent the Faraday's electromagnetic induction law. And the fourth one, integration B dot dl equal to mu 0 into IC plus epsilon naught d phi dt represent modified Ampere's circuital law. Very, very important in physics, these four equations. Now the concept of electromagnetic wave. So if we have a time varying electric and magnetic field, you see how I have written? B stands for magnetic field, function of time t, E is the function of time t, means time varying electric and magnetic field acting perpendicular to each other. Look at it. Magnetic field is acting along z axis, electric field is acting along y axis. Then these two time varying mutually perpendicular electric and magnetic field gives rise to a wave which is known as electromagnetic wave, and the wave propagates perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. So you see, if the magnetic field is along z-axis, electric field is along y-axis, then the electromagnetic will propagate along x-axis. Alright, like that. If the electric field is along x-axis, magnetic field is along y-axis, then electromagnetic wave will propagate along z-axis. Alright, so this is the concept of electromagnetic wave. So how an electromagnetic wave is produced? When two mutually perpendicular time varying and electric field and magnetic field propagates through a medium, then it gives rise to a wave which is known as the electromagnetic wave. Now look at this one. Electromagnetic wave is always perpendicular to its source. Who is producing the electromagnetic wave? Electric field and magnetic field. And how it is moving? Perpendicular to it. That's why electromagnetic wave always transverse in nature. This is the most important point you have to remember, that electromagnetic wave is always transverse in nature. It can never be longitudinal. Alright? And electromagnetic wave, when it moves in free space or vacuum, then all kind of electromagnetic wave, they have the same speed, that is the speed of light in air or vacuum, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And all of you know what are the common characteristics of electromagnetic wave that you have studied already in 10th standard. Alright, in 10th standard spectrum chapter, the common characteristics of electromagnetic wave you already studied. Now these are few important relations related with the electromagnetic wave you have to remember. Now if you consider the electric field and magnetic field, already have shown the wave. Electric field, it is a sinusoidal wave. So E is given by E0 sin omega t plus kx. Why omega t plus kx? Because it is a progressive one. And B is given by like that, B0 sin omega t plus kx. Now in this case, E naught is the maximum value of the electric field, is peak value of electric field, and B naught is the peak value of the magnetic field. So ratio of peak value to electric field to magnetic field is equal to C. Another, this is the most important relation, that instantaneous, E stands for not the peak value, instantaneous value of electric field to the instantaneous value of the magnetic field is equal to the speed of light, equal to C. And the speed of electromagnetic wave in any medium is given by under root 1 by mu epsilon naught, where mu is the permittivity, mu is the permittivity of that medium, and epsilon naught is the relative electric this one. Mu is the electric, epsilon is the relative permittivity of the medium, and mu is the permeability, not permittivity, permeability, magnetic permeability of the medium. Alright, and C is given. This relation already in the previous chapters we have proved it. Alright, now C, the speed of light or speed of electromagnetic wave, because light is an electromagnetic wave, is equal to 1 upon under root mu naught epsilon naught. You must remember it. Here I have written mu epsilon, but here it is mu naught epsilon naught when it is C. Mu naught is the absolute magnetic permeability of free space, and epsilon naught is the absolute electric permittivity of the free space. And energy density of the electromagnetic energy. What is energy density? What is the expression for energy density? In the previous chapter already we have learned, so I am not going in details. I have just written the relation. In case of electromagnetic wave, energy density is equal to energy density of due to electric field plus energy density due to magnetic field. Now energy density for any electric or magnetic field, how it is given by epsilon naught by 2e square, and the energy density due to magnetic field is given by 1 upon 2 epsilon naught b square. Alright, remember E and B I have written. These are the instantaneous value. But if you want to calculate the average density in the electromagnetic wave, then average density is given by half epsilon naught E naught square equal to, or means equal to half B naught square by mu naught. Alright, so these are the important relations you are supposed to learn, practice and remember lifelong. Okay, the relations I have written within the rectangle, these are the relations you are supposed to learn, practice and remember. So let us summarize the characteristics of electromagnetic wave. Already we know that electromagnetic wave, it is produced by two mutually perpendicular time varying electric and magnetic field propagating in the same medium. Now how you can produce two time varying electric and magnetic field? By an accelerated charge particle. So in one sentence you can say that electromagnetic wave is produced by an accelerated charge particle. Alright. Electromagnetic waves are transverse in nature. They do not need any material medium for its propagation. Alright. And speed of electromagnetic wave in free space is given by, already I wrote this one, that C is equal to 1 upon mu naught epsilon naught. Then the next one is when the electric and magnetic field varies, then they vary simultaneously. Okay, at the same time, not that E is varying first, then B will vary. No, both of them vary simultaneously. And not only that, the most interesting thing is that the electric field and magnetic field, they attain their peak values E naught and B naught at the same place at the same time. So very important that E and B attains their peak value E naught and B naught at the same place and at the same time. Okay, and if you consider the instantaneous value of the electric and magnetic field, their ratio is equal to C always. Another one is, if you consider the electromagnetic wave, then the energy in the electromagnetic wave, it is divided equally among the electric and magnetic field. Not that electric field getting more, magnetic field getting less. No, both the field, they get the same amount of energy. They carry the same amount of energy. That's why the average energy density for electric field, UE bar, what is the meaning? Average energy density of electric field equal to average energy density of the magnetic field. Now energy carried by electromagnetic wave, already I noted down, again I have written here epsilon naught by 2 E square. This is the energy associated with the electric field vector, plus 1 by 2 mu naught B square. This is the energy associated with the magnetic field vector. Now the next point is very important, concept wise very important. Electric field vector is responsible for the optical effect. That's why the electric field vector is known as light vector. Alright, E is is responsible for optical effect, so E is known as light vector. Alright, and as you know that electromagnetic wave has no charge in it, that's why it do not deflect in electric field and in magnetic field. Now last point, also very important, electromagnetic wave not only carries energy, it carries momentum also. As it carries momentum, it is able to exert pressure. Alright, the pressure exerted by electromagnetic wave is known as the radiation pressure. Alright, and it is given by U by C. Alright, P is the radiation pressure, it is given by U by C. U is the energy and C is the speed of the light. P is equal to U by C. Alright, so that's all about the characteristics of the electromagnetic wave.